Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new era in the Simsport Racing world, as we are here at Brands Hatch in the Garden of England for the first round of the inaugural season of the Simsport Racing GT4 Championships. 5 different circuits over the next 5 weeks. Alex Goldschmidt and Steve Bradley in the commentary box for you over the next 5 weeks. And Steve, this is fantastic. 11 different cars brought to Assetto Corsa Competizione via the DLC pack, from 6 different nationalities, and this has been quite a community effort to get this together. That I understand that through the contribution side of things, where people help, they get a contributory role, and they've had a lot of say in this. And we've got a really exciting time ahead of us over the next 5 weeks with the circuits that have been put out to the contributors, and they've made their choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brands Hatch is an exciting track on its own, and obviously we've got the new class of cars with the GT4s. Each car very different to the next to drive. You know, they're all very individual cars with very individual drivers behind the wheel, so we should have some exciting racing tonight. So
the cars that are available in the Assetto Corsa Competizione DLC pack are the Alpine A110 GT4, the Audi R8 LMS, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, the BMW M4, which just recently has had an M4 GT3 revealed by BMW Motorsport, being tested ahead of 2022, the Chevy Camaro, the Ginetta G55, the KTM Crossbow, the Maserati Gran Turismo MC, the McLaren 570S, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sports. So the tracks that we're going to, Steve, we're here at the Garden of England at Brands Hatch, then we head in a week's time to the Hungaroring, then it's to South Africa for Kyalami on the 12th of August, and then it's Laguna Seca, our penultimate round on the 19th, and then the 26th of August we head to Circuit Zolder in Belgium. That's an absolutely barnstorming set of circuits that these drivers, and some of which who are new to Simsporters, were getting underway with qualifying. And there is one of the Maseratis, that is Regan Mitchell in the number 69 car, going up the Hellwood Hill into Druids, as this is a very short session, I might add, 10 minutes in total. But the circuits that we've got, the cars that we've got, this is really changing things in the world of Simsport Racing, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. The nature of the GT4 cars, with the performance bops, quite literally, the tracks suit different cars. You know, so you've got your lighter cars that are better on the brakes, faster acceleration, but not the top speed, like obviously the tight twisty tracks, and then you've got the BMWs and the Mercs that like to stretch the legs on the faster tracks. So we put quite a lot of thought into those track choices just to try and make sure it was there was something for everyone, and obviously mix that up with the fact that tonight is the only night you're going to see qualifying, because the rest of the rounds will be reverse grid based on the finishing positions of the previous race.
Oh, the twists in the tail get even sweeter here in Simsport Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione GT4 Season 1. And if you do, we've got 24 drivers here. I take it there are still spots available, is that right, Steve?
Yes, sign up is, as in all our championships, will remain open, and people are welcome to come along, join our Discord, just fill in the entry form and choose a car colour, and off we go. We can get you on the grid for next Wednesday.
Brilliant. And don't forget, head to simsport-racing.com to actually connect. And you can also find out about the Season 3 of GT3, which heads to Kyalami this very Sunday with Chris Buxton and Steve Bradley in the commentary box. We're on board with Chris Crossman, who is one of the main staples in the GT3 side of things. And he is in one of 2 BMW M4s. The other one is run by Chris Pinchbeck in the 43. And here comes Chris Crossman through Clearways and into Clark Curve, as we've yet to have a banker lap set in. But we'll see that Chris Crossman looks to be on a pretty quick lap here. And that is going to be a 1 minute 32.9. But Aaron Walker has just gone in with a 1:31.521. And that's a great job. He's in the Porsche 718 Cayman. There's Chris Pinchbeck in the very matte finish with bright fluoro green all over that car. That's a brilliant livery that Chris Pinchbeck has got there.
It is. I think that the guys in the BMWs tonight are going to be up against it because, as I was saying earlier, there, I think the BMW is going to be suited a little bit more to some of the faster, more flowing tracks as opposed to these twistier tracks. And I think Aaron probably a bit more time to come off there if he can get a good lap. I think the low 31s and even into the 30s on a perfect lap.
So we are just under 6 minutes remaining as there's Johan Pettersson in the number 29 Porsche 718 Cayman getting past one of the Ginettas. As the fastest of the Ginettas at the moment is newcomer Tim Fulbrook in the 862 Ginetta G55. Will make that 11th position as we've got Slaven Sver in the 22 Porsche that's now got up into position. There is Tim Fulbrook in the HF Impala Ginetta G55 GT4, a very big staple here in the UK, especially with British GT in both GT3 and GT4 classes. But Aaron Walker leads the way. Stephen Haley in second by about 0.18 of a second. Martin Pilkington is in a KTM Crossbow, the only one on the grid. And he is currently running P3, 0.732 off of pole position. As Cody Pride in the 701 Porsche is a little bit further adrift by about 33 thousandths of a second, and you can just see how hard Martin Pilkington is pushing the Fordzilla driver in the KTM Crossbow. And it's nice to see something a little bit different as one of the Porsches runs wide going through the left at Sterling's.
Yeah, we're really interested to see what sort of time he gets on this lap. Like you say, he was definitely pushing through there. And I'm not sure whether the Porsche crashed or just felt like he wanted to get out of the way for that one.
Well, he went running through the kitty litter on the outside of Sterling's as Martin Pilkington puts in a 1 minute 32.196. So, just under a tenth and a half off of his best lap time, which has been a 1 minute 32.052. Here is Angus Martin in one of the Audi R8 LMS GT4s, currently running in P15, and the other Audi driver is Gianluca Di Luca, another one that's running in GT3 Season 3 at the moment. And so in many respects here, we're seeing a lot of drivers from GT3 also deciding to double up here, Steve. I see Adam Isalovic running at the top 14, Chris Pinchbeck amongst others, Regan Mitchell in the Soul Maserati out on the circuit in P7 at the minute. But at the moment, Aaron Walker has gone even quick. Well, he's gone quicker. So is Stephen Haley. So is now Dave Hedges has thrown his hat into the ring and has gone third fastest on a 1:31.746.
The outstanding driver for me there, though, Alex, is P7 Regan Mitchell in the Maserati, which has no traction control, no ABS, and it is a little bit of a beast to drive. And he's managed to get that up there into 7th place. That's an awesome job. Yeah,
I think Jimmy Broadbent found out the hard way by instantly picking the Maserati before choosing anything else. And he found out very, very quickly how hard that car bites as Dave Hedges goes off on the approach onto the Halewood Hill and up to Druids. But Dave running in the leading, or the second best placed Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT4. Here's Adam Isalovic in the 111 Chevrolet Camaro GT4. I'm sure that if Richard Hammond wanted a GT4 car, it will probably be this, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. He does like his American cars, and it's surprised there isn't a few more taking this car, 'cause it's not a terrible car. As I say, it's got all the cars have got their strong points and weak points, and it's not a bad car to choose.
So at the moment, Aaron Walker still leading the way in qualifying with just under 2.5 minutes to go here at Brands Hatch. The race will be 45 minutes in length. There will be no mandatory pit stops, and there is a full formation lap. Air temperature 18 degrees Celsius, track temperature 23 degrees Celsius. There is an 87% chance of a dry race, 11% chance of light rain, 2% chance of medium rain, but it is looking a little bit cloudy overhead, as we're at 12:07 p.m. local time according to the server. But Isalovic showing really good credence in that Chevy is Kieran Vidago, who was running up at the top of the timesheets a bit earlier in qualifying, now comes out for what will be, if he could get around very, very quickly in the Mercedes-AMG GT4, is currently running P11. I mean, we were talking about this before going on air, Steve, that with a 10-minute qualifying session, the drivers are probably going to be, if they're lucky, to get about anywhere between 2 to 4 laps. There's Nikola Dobrevsky in the number 10 Mercedes, and that is another bright livery with bright baby blue alloy wheels to boot.
Yeah, that's an attention seeker, is that one?
You can see that one coming.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, Kieran, obviously another one of our GT3 regulars. As we have got a few more. Ranjiv Kelsey, he's another GT3 regular, and Mark Roddenberry, he's in there in P21. Mark hasn't had a lot of time to practice. I know he's busy with other commitments, but he does want to race. So he's, I think as he said to me last night, he's forfeited eating to allow more time for practicing. So dedication.
I hope he's hydrating in comparison with not eating. But Regan Mitchell, you were saying in that Maserati, he's done a really good job. He's pitted with about a minute left in qualifying, and he's only just over half a second off of Stephen Haley. That's a monumental effort. And says Ranjiv Kelsey in the 570S GT4, the only one on this. And McLaren, very well known for its GT3 and GT4 machinery. And I would have thought with a car such as the 570S that there might have been a couple more on the grid, but obviously we've still got a few more spots to fill. So if you want to come on board, head to simsport-racing.com as we head into the last few seconds of qualifying. Stephen Haley has called it a day, but look at the gap between him and Aaron Walker, Steve. It's 0.060, as that is it for qualifying here at Brands Hatch for GT4 Season 1, Round 1.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. We've got the top 8 all within, within 9/10 quite easily, and hoping that gap at the front translates into a fantastic race, as I'm sure it will, because those two, don't forget, are teammates in the GT3 races.
Yes, with the WRT cars, known as the Editors, if memory serves me correctly. I'm trying to get myself up to speed with remembering all these team names, but a bit of a disaster for Angus Martin in the dying stages of qualifying, dropping him down into 18th position. But Aaron Walker and Stephen Haley make it a top 2 at the front of the field, ahead of Cody Pride, Dave Hedges in 4th, Regan Mitchell in 5th, Johan Pettersson, Aaron Martin Pilkington, Chris Crossman, Gavin Utley, and Adam Isailovic rounding out the top 10, covered by just over 1.2 seconds. And Steve, this is what has really impressed me about the GT4s, all the way down to Michael Hafferden in the 861 Ginetta G55 GT4. They are split by just under 2 seconds. I mean, that is incredible for just such a new test for the GT4 DLC on ACC, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of discussion in the practice servers. I jumped on with the guys the other night and did some laps in various cars, and it is amazing how different all the cars do feel. And as I keep saying, they all have their strong points and their weak points depending on which track you're on. So none of the guys, I don't think, would actually say to you that they're 100% confident they've got the right car. They've just gone with the one that feels the best at the moment. But I'm sure as they develop and they start to tune, they'll get faster, they'll get more confident. But one thing to say is the tuning on the cars is very limited on the GT4s. It's not like the GT3s. You don't have as many options to change things, and some of them have less than others.
Yeah, so after Adam Isailovic, we had Richard Emery, Gianluca De Luca, Kieran Vidago. Well, actually, you can see it on your screens. Richard Emery, Gianluca De Luca, Mark Neuselings showing up in 13th position. Kieran Vidago, Chris Pinchbeck, Slaven Zver, Joel Diaz, another GT3 regular, Angus Martin, Michael Hafferden, Ranjiv Kelsey, Tim Fulbrook, Mark Raddenbury, Nikola Dobrevsky and Paul Lindsay rounding out the 24 strong, all covered by just under 3.9 seconds. But Steve, just your thoughts of how ACC have... because there's been a lot of hype ahead of the GT4 release for DLC, but it's really, really shown that this platform simply works a treat, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's been many discussions, there's been many reviews of the GT4s, and I don't think, unless I've not looked hard enough, but I've not found a bad review on them. I think Keynes have made a fantastic job of them. Everyone's absolutely loving the cars. There's a little bit of scope for door rubbing with these cars. They don't fly off into the kitty litter. You can race them a bit harder. They're not quite, or they don't seem quite as susceptible to damage, which means the racing can be even closer. And as I keep saying, the characteristics with the differences, you can really put the pressure on someone at certain parts of the track, and then maybe be lagging behind a little bit in others. But yeah, Keynes have made a fantastic job, and it's well worth the money it was to download the GT4s. I think the racing's going to be really close, really exciting.
Well, we've already had a comment on the Simply Race YouTube channel. A big thank you to them once again for helping us to bring this to you people through the multitude of streams that are happening at the moment on the Simply Race Twitch and YouTube channel, on the Downforce Racing Facebook page. We've also got the Virtual Reality Racing Club Facebook page, YouTube channel, Twitch channel, Thrill Junkies on YouTube, Let's Race on Facebook, and also of course on Simsport Racing's YouTube channel and Twitch and in the Facebook group. We've also had a comment from Skater Jonas saying, let's have some fun, boys. Good luck all. And I'm sure that every single one of these drivers is going to look to put the pedal to the metal. We are about to crank the volume up to 11. But before we head back to the circuit, let's give you a little bit of a teaser as ACC Season 3 GT3 heads to South Africa's fantastic Kyalami circuit this coming Sunday evening. So don't forget to tune in this coming Sunday evening, the 2nd of August 2020, for the 60-minute encounter that is round 4 of Simsport ACC GT3 Season 3 with Chris Buxton, and of course the man by my right-hand side at the moment, Steve Bradley from Simsport Racing. But we are literally, Steve, just moments away from getting things off and away in our inaugural ACC GT4 season, and since we discussed this, I have been on absolute tenterhooks, and I've got, I think they say that if you haven't got the goosebumps, you're not really a motorsport fan, and I'm sure that you're about the same with that, as well as we are about to go underway with a full formation lap. Just what are your thoughts about having this new direction for Simsport Racing in GT4?
Yeah, I'm really excited. As you say, it's goosebump territory because, as an event organizer, as a group, a community, we always want to keep things interesting, and you always want to try and do something a little bit different and push the parameters of the platform you're using. Hence, that's why we've done the reverse grid. We can set a grid up based on these race results for next week, which is, whoever wins tonight is going to be starting based on tonight's lineup in 24th place next week.
And that depends if we have any more entries between now and then.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will say any new entries do just go onto the back of the grid. So the winner tonight will start in 24th next week, and then if anyone signs up, they will be starting behind those guys.
Indeed. So. Yeah, I think it's a very, very fair point to mention that as well. So 45 minutes on the clock, 2.433 miles, 3.916 kilometres, and your grid lineup for the inaugural race of Simsport ACC GT4 Season 1 is as follows. Aaron Walker and Stephen Haley on the front row. Then it's Cody Pride and Dave Hedges, row 2. Regan Mitchell and Johan Pettersson, that's row 3. Chris Crossman and Aaron Martin Pilkington, row 4, with Gavin Utley and Adam Isalovic rounding out the top 10. Then it's Richard Emery and Gianluca De Luca on row 6. Then Mark Neuselings and Kieran Vidago on row 7. Chris Pinchback and Slaven Sver on the... that's a bit of a tongue twister. I didn't expect that one. Row 8. Charles Diaz and Angus Martin row 9. Michael Haffenden and Rajiv Kalsi ran out the top 20 ahead of Tim Fulbrook, Mark Ranbury, Nikola Dobrevsky, and Paul Lindsay. And as you can see, it is bright overhead. Air temperature still a peachy 18 degrees centigrade, track temperature 24 degrees. And you can just see now that on this formation lap, Aaron Walker is trying to put as much heat and tyres into the brakes, heat into the tyres and brakes, as we are very shortly getting things underway. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got a cold beer by your right-hand side, you might want to crack that thing open right about now, as it will be down to Walker and Haley to set the pace. They are now heading through clearways into Clark Curve. 45 minutes on the timer here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix in the Garden of England in West Kingsdown in Kent. So let's see who gets the best start of everybody as they come through the exit of Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight. And once they are given the signal to go, we will be green and racing. So it's tentativeness from all drivers as we are green, and that is a very slow start from Stephen Haley. He's already been jumped by Cody Pride, and up the inside goes Dave Hedges. And that's before we've even got through into the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, as it is 2 by 2 a little bit further down the order, as Regan Mitchell has Johan Pettersson towards the outside of him going through Druids as they head down the hill, down into Graham Hill before the left onto Cooper Straight. And already that is very, very much line astern between second and third, as Stephen Haley trying to get past Cody Pride going into Surtees. But Pride in the 701 Porsche 718 Cayman has the run of the Aston Martin at the minute, but not at the moment, as they're going to start going towards Pilgrim's Drop at an incredible rate of knots. And Haley has got the run towards that. Stave Hedges ran towards the outside. Stephen Haley towards the outside behind the sister Aston Martin. And I cannot believe this, that through Hawthorns, that was brilliantly done by Dave Hedges, but that's allowed Stephen Haley to have a little bit of daylight going through Westfield. But Steve, that was a brilliant start from Cody Pride, as Aaron Walker launched it off the line.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, let's not forget these cars don't have tyre warmers either, so when they're on that outlap, they do really need to get heat into the tyres, but they're still not usually up to temperature for that first corner. So Paddock Hill, Druids, all very, very well done with what would have been probably just slightly warm tyres.
Mm-hmm. A very different kettle of fish in comparison with GT3s, but now Hedges on the back bumper of Pride, going up towards the dip, down towards Paddock Hill Bend, which a lot of drivers that I've spoken to over the years through my travels in motorsport have said Paddock Hill Bend is one of the best corners in motorsport, and we're seeing that showcased here with GT4 machinery, as Haley looking towards the inside once again of Hedges. Oh, Hedges gets a bit of a break on the rear end, so those tyres still not up to optimum temperature. That's allowed Cody Pride to get away, but in the meantime, Aaron Walker now has nearly a 1.6 second lead as they head down the Cooper Straight and into Surtees for the second time, as Chris Crossman trying to go up the inside of Johan Pettersson and has made the move sticks to the BMW, now up into 6th position, and will start to hunt down the Maserati Gran Turismo MC GT4 of one Regan Mitchell, currently sitting in P5.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic job from Regan as well to hold on. Now he's just clinging onto the back of the top 4 there, and I'm sure he'll be waiting to pick up any scraps as Steve's looking for a move.
Yeah, and here's another move. That's the 17 car there, I think. Well, you can just see how... Oh, now that was one of the Astons into the barrier there. Now, that was not... That was Pete. That's Gavin Utley. So Gavin Utley in the barriers, and he was actually going towards the outside of Aaron Martin Pilkington on the run through Surtees. But in the meantime, Mitchell's closed up on Haley, who's swarming over the back bumper of Hedges as they go through Clark Curve. And this is just how close it is. And the gap now between Walker and Pride is over 2 seconds as we head on to lap number 3 here at Brands Hatch. 41 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock remaining. So the running order at the moment, I'll say this as quickly as possible, just hopefully we don't have a positional change unless Stephen Haley thinks otherwise. But here's another replay, and that is, now that was actually Gavin Utley going up the inside of Aaron Martin Pilkington, clattered, late braked, slices amount of contact, and it sent the 17 Aston Martin into the barriers. So Walker leads, Pride in second, Hedges, Haley, Mitchell, Crossman, Peterson, Martin Pilkington is now up into P7, having got past the 29 Porsche of Peterson. De Luca, Isalovic, Emery, Vidago, Neutelings, Pinchbeck, Diaz, Haffenden up to 16th, Sver 17th, and Haffenden's teammate Fulbrook up into P18 ahead of Kelsey, Martin, Radenbury, Dobrevsky, and it looks like Gavin Utley has had a bit of terminal damage there to the Aston Martin. He is currently in the pits, probably repairing damage. So we'll look to fight another day next time out at the Hungaroring in just a week's time. But this battle here, Steve, for second, third, and fourth and fifth is really heating up because Regan Mitchell, as you said, has got no traction control, no ABS, but is very, very clean and clinical in how he's driving that Italian powerhouse there.
Yeah, he's a very smooth driver, is Regan. I know I keep talking him up in the GT3s, but he's very quiet, calm, and very, very clean and smooth. So that car will suit him. He's probably the only man on the grid, I think, that would have picked that car, and he'll actually be enjoying himself right now. And this battle up front is probably helping him to hang on there. But I know Mr. Haley's obviously just got past
Dave Hedges.
Dave Hedges, got past him.
That was a good move up towards the inside of Paddock Hill Bend there. So Stephen Haley had a really good run there. Dave Hedges having a bit more of a tail-happy moment yet again through the exit of Druids. And you could, like Regan Mitchell, who we're now on board on the Maserati, and you can just see that he is using minimal inputs here. He's not overdriving the car because he knows that he makes the slightest mistake, that will spin out quicker than a tumbleweed going through a western scene. And that's not slow at the best of times, but he's very, very clean here. As again now, look at Haley. He's trying to close up on Pride for P2, so he's got away from Hedges after that move through Paddock very shortly. So Stephen Haley looking to not just go for Cody Pride as we go on board, and this is on the approach into Westfield. As looks like there was a bit of dust kicked up by Aaron Walker a bit earlier on, who's about 2.9 seconds up the road from Cody Pride. But again, we're just seeing how different these GT4 cars are, Steve, in comparison to what we've been treated to for the last 3 rounds of the GT3 Season 3 at the minute.
Yeah, we're all completing lap 4 now, so everyone's tyres will be up to temperatures, brakes will be up, so they're at full race pace, and there's no doubt Stephen Haley's got the pace to get back into second. It's just whether he can create that opportunity. As Cody's obviously, he's just got to put it in the right place and defend it, but Steve will put him under pressure, and I think Dave's now coming under pressure from the Maserati of Regan as well.
Very, very true. Looks like Slavensver has now ended up in the pits, so that's 2 drivers. So a Porsche and an Aston Martin. And we are only literally in the first just under 7 minutes completed, as this battle is not it's being exacerbated, and the person that's doing said exacerbation is Stephen Haley, as Dave Hedges coming under fire from Regan Mitchell on the exit through Surtees is now going to head through into Pilgrim's Drop. Now, if anyone remember the DTM a couple of years ago with Mike Rockenfeller making it 3 abreast into Hawthorns, as that's a great move by Stephen Haley. Is he going to keep that round the outside? That's brazen at its very best. And they're going into Westfields. If he keeps that planted, that Aston Martin will be in second, but he runs wide, 2 wheels on the grass, but he's kept his foot in, and that has allowed both Hedges and Mitchell to close back in on the 2 ahead.
Yeah, and Aaron Martin Pilkington up on Crossman now, only less than 3/10 behind him, so they're battling all the way through the field, and possibly, all going to maybe close up. If they all keep battling, it could group them back together.
Yeah, we've had a message on YouTube saying, I think it's AGM86, great start by Cody. Well, he's keeping second position at the moment, as through Clark Curve comes Aaron Martin Pilkington, right on the back bumper of Chris Crossman, who normally favours Porsche machinery in GT3s, but now he's switched to the one of the more recent additions back in early 2018, the BMW M4 GT4, and that in its own right is not a slouch by any stretch of the imagination.
Got Haley going for a move there on the inside. Not quite forceful enough, but clean.
Yeah, that was through Druids, so he's made a good run there as they now head down the Cooper Straight, whereas Aaron Walker's already gone through Sterling's, and his lead now, Steve, is 4.3 seconds. And this is allowing Aaron Walker to pull away quite considerably with no effort required on his part. And he's been putting in a low 1 minute 32.1s. He's put the fastest lap of the races. Again, Haley going up inside this time, not the outside like the like the bravado he showed last time around. But again, Dave Hedges closes up. But I think Regan Mitchell, again, is the one that we've really got to watch in this battle here, Steve, because he's keeping very, very close as they go through down through Sheens and into the left at Stirling's. Now, if anyone might remember Danny Orcadea's moment a couple of years ago in Blancpain, in the AMG GT3, I was actually here at the circuit and I watched it happen, and I saw Danny later on in the pits and I went, mate, I don't know how you held that. He said, I don't know how I held that. I just pointed and squirted and hoped if I'd steered the other way, it'd be fine. And so, yeah, I've known Danny for quite a few years through his travels in DTM, but also he's a very good peddler in GTs, currently running with R Motorsport these days, having been a Mercedes factory driver for a number of years. But Cody Price still doing a great job ahead of Stephen Haley, Dave Hedges and Regan Mitchell here in the battle for what is second on the road. So this battle is going to be, I think, Steve, waging on, and it's been underway for over nearly 10 minutes, and we haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, let's not forget that this is the first time I believe that Cody and Stephen have raced together, so to be racing so close on your first time out together is it's awesome driving from both of them. Well, from all four guys there. I mean, look how close Regan is up behind Dave looking for a slipstream. I don't think there's going to be any moves on this lap, but let's see.
Well, we've seen what Stephen Haley is capable of in GT3s, and he's given us a big flash of brilliant glimpses of what we can see of him doing in an Aston Martin GT4 car. But in the meantime, Aaron Martin Pilkington has got Johan Pettersson not too far behind it for company, as those two will be battling very shortly with Chris Crossman, who's still holding on to sixth place in the leading BMW. The other one is Chris Pinchbeck, all the way down in P15. As we go on board with the KTM Crossbow. Oh, that was dicey. He's trying to go, that was towards the outside of Crossman through into Stirling's, and now they go through Clearways and into Clark Curve to complete another lap. But Aaron Martin Pilkington from Team Fordzilla is wringing the life out of this Audi-powered KTM Crossbow GT4.
Yeah, he's putting Chris under a lot of pressure, and I believe he gave him a cheeky little tap there on the back corner, but thankfully didn't unsettle the BMW too much. But yeah, great racing. These two have been locked together for quite a few laps now. As he's making another move there, I paused as I was willing him to get the drive on there out of that corner, but it just wasn't to be. But
but look, he's got a really good run coming out of Graham Hill Bend. He's just literally pulled away there from Johan Pettersson. Now, a bit of interesting information about the KTM Crossbow GT4. Now, I have to thank a particular person who's working in rallying circles these days. Seb Scott used to be a part of Writer Engineering, as that's a great move by Stephen Haley to get past Cody Pride for P2, which puts Pride in the Porsche into the clutches of both Hedges and Mitchell. The KTM Crossbow GT4 was actually developed in association with Writer Engineering, and also it's had the likes of W Series drivers Caitlin Wood and Naomi Schiff actually racing those cars, Laura Kaiheimer. There was also a Writer Engineering Young Drivers Challenge, and the victory in the championship actually gave them an opportunity to be in a Lamborghini the following season, and Caitlin was one of those two drivers that actually ended up in the Lamborghini, and I met her personally back at Brands Hatch a few years ago. But seeing the KTM Crossbow in action here, as Cody Pride again is trying to, he's the Porsche in an Aston Martin sandwich here. Let's be completely honest, Steve. He doesn't know whether he needs to attack or defend, as Dave Hedges trying to go up the inside once again of the 701 Porsche.
Yeah, I think now Steve's got the pass made. He's going to pull away. Quite confident of that. He'll put a couple of tenths a lap in on these guys. But Dave and Cody, that's going to be another battle, and obviously Regan's he's right on Dave's bumper now and looking for a good exit here, and he'll be looking for a slipstream as they go up through Pilgrims, dropping into Hawthorne.
And out of these four cars, Regan Mitchell is the fastest of anybody in terms of the pure lap pace. Fastest lap out of these four cars. It's done a 1:32.067. But out of the three cars and him in front, the fastest driver is Dave Hedges in P4 at the minute. Meanwhile, behind these guys, Johan Pettersson has got past Aaron Martin Pilkington for P7, and it's just under 9 tenths off of Chris Crossman. A little bit further back, Kevin Vidago and Richard Emery are battling away over what will be 10th position. Mark Neutlings, Gianluca De Luca, Chris Pinchbeck, and Joao Diaz round out the top 15 ahead of Michael Haverden, Ranjiv Kelsey, Tim Fulbrook, Angus Martin, Paul Lindsay, Mark Ranbury, and Nikola Dobrevski in the number 10 Mercedes AMG GT4. As you can see, that is a bit of a different line from the Maserati going through Clark Curve there, Steve. He went right to the outside, and if he was probably about 6 inches to the left, he would have put that Maserati in the kitty litter well and truly.
Yeah, it's all about keeping the steering wheel open on that Maserati, not putting too much input in to create the resistance to cause the back end to come out. He just wants to get that power down as smooth as he can. Just keep the pressure on Dave if he can, not give Dave a minute to breathe. Just looking back down the order there, we've got the battle of the streamers there. We've got Kieran Vidago streaming on Twitch, and Richard Emery will be streaming on YouTube within 3/10 of each other, so the community will be getting behind those two guys as well.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. And Gianluca De Luca is actually the leading Audi. It hasn't been the greatest start for Angus Martin down in P19, as there's Joao Diaz just behind Chris Pinchbeck. And it's nice that you see this carnival of colour here in many respects, that you see the chrome on the Audi, you then see it on the on the Mercedes, and then Chris Pinchbeck just goes, yeah, I'll just put a bit of fluoro neon and a bit of matte black paint on my car, shall I? And then there's Richard Emery in the Cat Racing 115 Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT4. But it's always great to see that the drivers will not necessarily use the liveries that Kuno Simulazioni have put into ACC, but they have their custom editor, so which is really nice that you see this wonderful cacophony of colour. And I think one of the biggest ones was actually Dobrevski, which is the most eye-catching, and I think you could probably see from Google Maps if you saw the satellites if they could do that on ACC.
Well, it's always the editor's always a little bit dangerous as well when you've got characters like Christopher Pinchbeck, who's a very, very colourful character. You never quite know what design he's going to put on his car and what it's going to look like until it comes out the pits for the first time. And it can take you by surprise. Aaron Martin Pilkinson dropped down to 16th place now. I wonder if he's had an issue or an off at some point, or have I missed that?
Yeah, that was something I missed as well, if I'm completely honest with you. There is so much action to keep up with here in GT4 Season 1, Round 1 at Brands Hatch, which will be followed up by Hungary, South Africa, California, and then Belgium, as that's a bit of a run wide, I think, there from Cody Pride, and as he's battling away, as both he and Dave Hedges have pulled a gap of nearly a second on Regan Mitchell, who I think is just probably trying to conserve that Maserati, because he'll want to get... Oh, now you could just see how hard that car is going. That car seems to be a little bit more happier going sideways, but Regan, I think, is wanting otherwise, because drifting in going sideways is absolutely spot on, but when you're racing GT4s, you don't want the rear end braking traction, and that could have been just a bit of a moment there for Regan that he didn't quite want. There's Joao Diaz battling away with Chris Pinchbeck, and there is Michael Haffenden in the leading Ginetta G55 just behind in 15th position. He's only 7/10 off of Joao Diaz as they now come through Clark Curve and onto the Brabham straightaway.
Yeah, I'm surprised, if I may say, that there's Ginetta's not higher up, because I think Ginetta use this as pretty much their home test track, so the cars are well suited to Brands Hatch. And I know in practice some of the guys were going quite a bit quicker and getting into the top sort of 6 or 7 with the time with the Ginettas.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. It's just a case that you'll always have these these different sort of side of things where a lot of people go, well, hang on a second, this could be a pretty good track, or it could be an absolute shocker. And like you say, by having the input of the community into this, Steve, that by this, making sure it's a bit fairer for everyone, so everyone has a fair crack at the whip, as Mark Neutlings pulls out, not Mark Neutlings, Chris Pinchbeck on Gianluca De Luca, and these two have been battling away in GT3 anyhow, as has Joao Diniz, but Michael Haverden is normally a writer, from what I remember, and it's good to see him and Tim Fulbrook. These are two guys that I actually know, and I know that Tim Fulbrook actually works for a touring car website. So to see these guys, I think they both work for the same one as well. So good to see them as teammates in this. And I must say that Havenden's actually keeping Gerard Denis very, very honest in the Mercedes, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. There's 4 cars there, all within a second of each other, and that's what it's all about. I mean, the racing's so close. It's like you say, you don't know where to look next, in fear of missing anything. And it's good to see everyone's putting each other under pressure. Aaron Walker's still out there, completed 12 laps, 5.2 seconds in front of Haley. So Haley's not really getting that gap down, although he's gapped Pride in 3rd place. He's not closing up really on Walker, not so to speak. I don't think he's going to make a difference in 25 minutes unless Aaron has an issue.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Steve. There's going to be, I think there's going to be quite a lot of argy-bargy when we get get a little bit further in this race. So Aaron Walker has a humongous gap at the minute ahead of Stephen Haley, who's rounding out the top 2 positions. And these two are teammates, as you can now see. Regan Mitchell closing on Dave Hedges for what is 4th position, and he's just under 0.4 of a second adrift. But I must be completely honest, to have the, and I like using this terminology because most people will understand what I'm saying, is that when you have the cojones to pick such a car and you actually really do showcase its true potential, that is exactly what Regan Mitchell is doing right now.
Yeah, he is a smooth driver. He's a talented driver. He's been a little bit unlucky in some of the races with the GT3 so far, but he's showing us what he's made of tonight. Certainly, as you say, to man that Maserati, so to speak, around Brands Hatch is not easy because corners, like Westfield, Dingledell, Sheens, they all take full commitment, and you're not going slow. So if that back end steps out, as we've seen it do, he's got a little bit of opposite lock on coming through some of those corners. It's a master at work keeping that car under control.
Yeah, because that was through Sheen Curve that he went through, and he decided to want to go sideways. And I was like hoping he was going to hang on for dear life, but he's really pressurising Dave Hedges now. The gap was just under 0.4 of a second. It's now less than half. It's nearly half that, 0.2 of a second. So they're now going to go through Pilgrim's Drop up towards Hawthorne. And he's got a real good run, has Regan Mitchell, but I don't think he's about a car length behind as they go into the braking zone. Yeah, not on this particular occasion, but as Hedges runs wide, and that gives Regan Mitchell the opportunity through into Westfield and makes the move done before Dingledell. That was absolute textbook patience by Regan Mitchell to get past Dave Hedges, who now is quickly on the counter-offensive going through Sheens.
Yeah, Dave's got it all to do now to try and get past Regan again because, it's not a case of just being faster, it's a case of forcing that door open now. We are getting into the territory as Dave goes down the outside now, but I don't think that move's going to work. We're getting into the territory of the different characteristics of the car are going to show with different tyre wear, on the cars, and the handling is going to start to change ever so slightly as we progress in the race now.
Yeah, as you can see that Dave Hedges really got the run on Regan Mitchell heading into Paddock Hill Bend there. So at the moment now on to lap number 15 with 23 minutes and 8 seconds to go still on the clock as the battle away down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screens. That's Pinchbeck, Diaz and Haffenden now battling over 12th place. Lead at the moment is in the hands of Aaron Walker ahead of Stephen Haley. Cody Pride, Regan Mitchell and Dave Hedges round out the top 5 ahead of Chris Crossman, Johan Pettersson, Adam Isalovic, Richard Emery, Mark Neutelings rounding out the top 10. Kieran Vidago, and then we've got Chris Pinchbeck, Gerard Diaz and Michael Haffenden, literally covered by probably a couple of A4 sheets of paper there. They're ahead of Gianluca De Luca, Aaron Martin Pilkington, who's down in 16th ahead of Ranjith Kelsey, Tim Fulbrook, Angus Martin, Mark Raddenberry. Looks like Paul Lindsay is down in 21st ahead of Nikola Dobrevsky in the number 10 Mercedes at the moment. So 22 runners and riders with Slaven Sver and Gavin Artley, unfortunately not taking any further parts in the race. But obviously that poses another question here, Steve. Now, obviously you said about new recruits joining the series for the Hungaroring next week. What if you have a DNF? How does that change things?
If you don't finish the race, then again you start behind whoever wins the race this week. So currently, depending on what order the DNF'd, they would be in 23rd and 24th position for the two guys that have pitted tonight and not finished. So DNFing has no benefit for you for the next round at all. In fact, it makes it worse. You start further back.
and amidst a whole train of fast cars in the process. So at least it's good to get that kind of clarification. So we will explain the rules to you all watching at home. So don't forget, if you want to get involved, head to simsport-racing.com, click on the Discord link, join, be part of the community, and we might see you racing over the next 4 weeks. Or also, if you want to join as a reserve for the GT3 Season 3, which goes to Kyle Army for round 4 in just a couple of days' time on Sunday night, the 2nd of August. Feel free to do so, as there's... now, this is getting really hot and heated because Dave Hedges has had quite literally the red mist flying behind the the windscreen of the bright fluorescent green 88 Aston Martin there, hasn't it, Steve? He's hell-bent on getting past Regan once again.
He is, but I think Regan's just keeping a nice pace there. Dave's not close enough as yet to make a move, and I think he's going to wait for that Maserati to maybe step out sideways in one of the corners and allow him through. But Regan's doing a sterling job of keeping it pointing in the right direction and keeping the power down and getting the acceleration going. He's doing a fantastic job. So Dave's going to keep the pressure on him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, because I think it's either going to be one of two things that might happen here. That either Dave will force Regan into a mistake, or Dave will overdrive the car and make a mistake himself, putting him out of the running for P4. Because whilst these two are battling, Cody Pride is now nearly 2.8 seconds up the road, and he's halfway down the Cooper Straight at the moment. So it's been quite interesting, this sort of cat and mouse dynamic, as Dave Hedges now goes wide and takes a cutback approach through into Sterling's to Surtees to get the run through Pilgrim's Drop on towards Hawthorns. And you can now see that Dave Hedges has got a real good run on the Maserati Gran Turismo into Hawthorns, but can't get through at the minute. And it just depends on how composed does Regan Mitchell keep himself as they're going towards into Westfield. The Maserati's still ahead. Through into Dingle Dell. Regan Mitchell still keeping ahead of the 88 Aston Martin, and these two are 4.2 seconds up the road from Chris Crossman, who's now 2.7 seconds ahead of Johan Pettersson, with Adam Isalovic, Richard Emery, and Mark Neuselings rounding out the top 10 positions. But again, we've seen this in GT3, and now we're seeing it before our very eyes, Steve, in GT4. This has been brilliant, captivating action. It's kept us guessing onto what is going to happen next, and you don't know how the next chapter will be written.
No, I mean, there's the reverse grid for the next rounds and everything like that. It's going to throw a cat among the pigeons with regards to starting positions.
Right, so just been told that Kieran Vidago has just had a drive-through penalty. So that's the first slap on the wrist of the season, and it's for the number 4. Now I'm wondering what that was for, if that was for track limits, possibly.
Yes, it will be for track limits. The game, the sim is set to auto for that. Yeah,
so Kevin Vidago now drops quite a few positions, drops behind Tim Fulbrook in the 862 Ginetta G55. And I must be completely honest here, Steve. One driver that's made quite a few positions and is trying to close on Chris Pinchbeck is Michael Haffenden. He's up into P12, having started in the last quarter of the top 20 when we went green. Probably nearly half an hour ago, and he's doing an absolutely sterling job in the Ginetta, as he's got Joao Diaz trying to breathe all over his back bumper, and these two have been locked into battle pretty much since we went green.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, the Ginetta is a great car around Brands Hatch. I've driven it myself around here in some hot laps, and I loved it. I like the Ginetta. I think it is my favourite car out of the GT4 pack. But yeah, hopefully he can catch up to Chris and drag Diaz up there, and I know Chris will give him a good battle if they can get close to him. They've got just under 17 minutes to do it. So hopefully before the end we'll see another battle there. See, Aaron Walker's completed 18 laps and Steve's now 5.5 seconds behind, so that gap's pretty stagnant now. I think that's pretty conclusive, is that now, unless there's any mistakes.
Yeah, and even with a 45-minute race here, Steve, The tiredness can still set in many
Haffenden's
respects.
up the inside there, sorry, Alex.
Yeah, so he's regained the position back off of Joao Diaz, and Gianluca De Luca is not too far away from this battle now. So whilst these two are battling away, the Audi, the leading Audi, I might add, is Angus Martin now. I've just noticed is in P17, ahead of Kieran Vidago and now Aaron Martin Pilkington in the 626 KTM Crossbow GT4. Then it's Raddenberry, Lindsay and Dobrevsky. So 22 out of 24 drivers still circulating here at Brands Hatch. And so in many respects, that's going to be quite interesting as we're fast approaching 15 minutes on the clock remaining.
Yeah, very interesting. You can see they're pushing very hard as Haffenden takes the line there, and Diaz goes fully onto the grass, trying to keep up with him. So obviously everyone's pushing still, and tyres will be getting close to the limit, but some great driving still going on there.
Indeed. So 15 and a half minutes left to go here at the inaugural race of the inaugural season of Simsport Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione GT4. As this is a great battle we're being treated to. Very nice and clean between Haffenden, Diaz and Gianluca De Luca. This is the battle for P12 out on the circuit as they come across the stripe. There's Aaron Walker now onto lap number 20 in the number 99 Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport. And that's a car that is currently being used in the Porsche Sprint Challenge GB. That particular car is being used, and one of the drivers in that is Into Racing's Alex Toth-Jones, who's been keeping his hand behind the Sims over the last few weeks and months since lockdown. And you can now see that there is a very, very battered front bumper on one of the Porsches, and that looks to be Johan Pettersson, who's got Adam Isalovic and Richard Emery just behind. So Pettersson looks to have been... Now, I'm wondering if that damage on Pettersson's car is what is the actual result of potential contact between him and Aaron Martin Pilkington. That's the question I've got to really ask now, and I'm sure that the race directors post-race will investigate that and look at the replay to see whether there was contact, because that looks to be quite a lot of damage on the front of that Porsche. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Absolutely, yeah. And I know the race stewards will look through the replay file, and the drivers are invited to submit any incident forms that they feel were a little bit unfair or whatever, just to bring it to the attention of the stewards. And the race licences could be endorsed if seen fit, and various penalties, from time penalties to even race bans for the more severe penalties. So it's a good, clean community at Simsport, and as you said earlier, you just need to look us up www.simsport-racing.com if you want to join the community. You don't have to want to race, you can just join and hot lap with us and practice and just be part of the community and pick up a few tips and have some fun.
Well, if I'm completely honest here now, Steve, I have noticed a little bit of a change in the gap between our two leaders. And these two are teammates in GT3, but I've just seen the last lap times. Aaron Walker just did a 1:32.052. Stephen Haley has got the gap down to under 5 seconds, and last time around did a 1:31.797. So he is starting to close a little bit, isn't he, the number 24?
He is, but I'll never say never. Steve's he will battle to the checkered flag, and I think Aaron will be pushing. I don't think he'll be cruising. Two very talented drivers, but I think it's a big ask to get Steve to get that gap down now. But like I say never. He will push all the way to the checkered flag.
Very, very true. Now, here's a replay from a bit earlier. Now, this is Ranjiv Kalsi, and that is up the inside of Angus Martin, and Martin runs wide. Oh, now that was a bit of avoidance. That was a brilliant avoidance there. That might have been, I think, possibly from Joel Diaz a bit earlier, but Tim Fulbrook has just been in a personal best lap time of 1:33.372. So, yeah, I mean, Jeanetta's starting to come on strong in the last 20 or so minutes of this race. 11 minutes 50 to go here at Brands, as there is Dave Hedges, and he's still trying to chase that. He's like a dog with a little toy. Until he's broken it, he's not going to let it go. and he's still trying to catch up with Regan. I mean, this is great. This is what you want to see in a GT4 race. You don't want them to sort of like go, yeah, I'm just going to hang back, relax, chill, put my feet up. No, it's like Dave's like the little terrier nipping at everyone's heels, going, I'm going to get this before the race is done. I guarantee you that much. And he'll put every single fibre of his body into this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's in 5th position at the minute, so that's going to mean 32 points. If he can get into 4th place, that's 34 points for him. So there's 2 points to be gained by finishing that 1 place ahead, which, you know, it could count at the end of the season. So he's going to race hard for those points, even though by finishing that 1 position further up, it's going to mean he's starting 1 position further back next week.
Indeed. So, again, Aaron Walker pushing like crazy. He's just done a 1:31.665 on lap number 22. We're on lap 23 here at Brands Hatch. Steve, so he's just done a 1:31.665. He's done Stephen Haley's just done a 1:31.986. Cody Pride running in the 1:32 threes. Regan Mitchell in the 1:32 fours. Dave Hedges is actually about a tenth and a half off of the pace behind Regan Mitchell. So Regan, even through what we've had now, nearly 35 minutes of racing here at Brands Hatch, that car, I think he's absolutely played a blinder there because, as you said, the subtle nuances of the respective cars. Now Joao Diaz has ended up in the pits, so that might have been an issue there for the 26 Mercedes. And that now has promoted Tim Fulbrook up into P14. Here is Aaron Walker. Less than 10 minutes on the clock. He's got a 5.1 second advantage. I love the fact that we were talking about liveries a bit earlier on, Steve, and you get some that are sort of like downright in your face, and then you get something stealth like this, you know, sort of a nice deep metallic purpley blue, and then you've got the gold rims on there as well.
Yeah, that's. I must admit that is more my style. I usually race a Porsche in a matte black paint job, and there's not a lot else on it. To be fair, it's quite boring. But yeah, that's my taste as well. I do like that. Not quite as colourful as some of the other drivers, but it's down to personal taste. And you know, with the editor in there in the sim, it's great that you can put your personal touch on there and get something different to the rest of the guys.
Very, very true. So Adam Isalovic being hounded now by Richard Emery for P8. So it's Chevrolet versus Aston Martin, with the Porsche just up ahead in the form of Johan Pettersson. So in many respects, this I think is going to be another battle. But Isalovic, you know, he normally runs the 488 GT3 with our GT3 season 3 at the moment, but hasn't had a better luck in that. But it seems like he's tamed the wild stallion that is the Chevrolet Camaro. And you did say that it was a very solid car, as again Dave Hedges trying to go up the inside of Regan Mitchell, and that was very, very close going through into Hawthorns.
Fantastic respect there from both drivers. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I hand on heart, I do have to concur with you on that one, Mr. Proudly. But yeah, it's just like Adam Isalovic, I think, has just really sort of found the car that works to his style. It's very much like Regan, that they'll find a car, they'll test, they will have tested as many cars as they have time for, and then go, actually, the one that suits my style is there's a yellow flag going through clearways, and they'll stick with it. Whereas some drivers do like to chop and change a little bit as well, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean, indeed, some drivers have the ability to jump from one car to another and be just as quick in that car as they were in the last. I fall into the other bracket of where I like to get a car and stick with it because you know, I hone my skills in one car, and I think that suits a lot of drivers. And Adam is a good driver. He's a developing driver. He's been with Simsport for a short while now, as we've seen a replay.
Yeah, that's Kelsey and Martin again. That was not good. Kelsey ran towards the outside of Martin and then gets turned whilst trying to power around the outside, and then through goes I think it was Aaron Martin Pilkington just behind them that went around the outside of the pair of them going through onto the Cooper Straight. But again, it just shows how finite the tolerances are. You said about door rubbing. There's door rubbing, and then there's I've misjudged that, and I've done an Alex Verts and run out of talent bit.
Yeah, I mean, the door rubbing side by side, as these two guys have been showing us, you know, you can run side by side in the corners, and if you're just about respecting each other and leaving enough room, and if you both do that, then you can race side by side anywhere on the track. So yeah, just drivers need to leave some room. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at it and see if there's anything that needs to be done there. As Dave Hedges has got a drive-through, I'm seeing. That must be for pushing the track limits. That's obviously going to wreck his race now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's going to promote Chris Crossman into the top 5 as Hedges instantly pits. And it's quickly. That's not exactly the best place of having to brake quite substantially, because it is a mini chicane down in the pits here at Brands Hatch, as Richard Emery now still trying to close. Now this is going to put these 3 into the battle for what is effectively 6th position, because Dave Hedges will not get out in time serving his drive through, as we've got, or has he? If he has, he's got out. No, he hasn't.
He's in amongst it. Yeah.
Oh no, he's been passed by all 3.
I'm sure he's going to be back in amongst it in the last 5 minutes of this race. And Richard Emery is a very seasoned racer. He won't make it easy for Dave to pass him. And he's obviously also focused on Adam in front, who's driving a fantastic race. As I was saying before, went back to that replay, Adam is a developing driver with Simsport, and he is getting quicker and quicker. He has been unlucky in the GT3s. But he's certainly holding his own tonight, and it's great to see.
Yeah, I think if I see steam coming out of a set of wing mirrors, it'll definitely be on the Aston Martin of Dave Hedges right now. I'm sure he's kicking himself.
And as if he hasn't learned his lesson from one drive-through, he just put the whole car into the grass again there, so that's maybe just chalked another warning up for him.
Oh dear. I mean, as much as we laugh about this, we know for a fact that the first thing they'll be like saying, why the hell did that happen? Or why did I go wrong with this? Again, you can see how close he is as Aaron Martin Pilkington now gets a drive-through. I think that's the 3rd or 4th that I've caught, the 3rd, I think, this evening, all for pushing the envelope of track limits.
There's quite a few corners on Brands Hatch, it has to be said, that you can cut quite substantially, but there is still a limit there. So if you push it, then, which the guys obviously are doing, they're trying to gain those extra tenths. They're trying to get the run out of corners on the car in front, which Dave's been trying to do for most of this race. So to be fair, I'm not really surprised, and it's not a marker against Dave's driving skill. It's just how hard he's pushing. He really is trying to find every millimetre that he can use to get on the power and get out of the corners faster.
And that is a great move. He's got up the inside of Richard Emery coming out of Paddock Hill Bend, makes the move through Druids by the end of the corner. That's a great move. So Dave Hedges now up into P8, so he'll have to try and depose of. He's got just under 4 minutes, if he can, to get past Adam Isalovic and Johan Pettersson. But at the moment, Aaron Walker still leading the way in the inaugural race of the first ever season of Simsport Racing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, GT4, here in the Garden of England, Brands Hatch. And you can just see, even though we're 3.5 minutes away from the checkered flag, Steve, they are pushing like no tomorrow. This has been absolutely flat out from green lights.
Yeah, everyone, like I say, all the points are valuable, and it's the first time they've raced for points in the GT4s. They did have a friendly race last week at Zandvoort, and I say friendly in the loosest of terms. It was a close fought battle, a great battle, but they're racing in anger tonight. They're after every point they can get, and as I'm sure Dave's going to be trying to get past Adam in the next few corners. He might even try a repeat of his move on Richard.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. And look, Isalovic just trying to slice across the nose of Dave Hedges, heading into Paddock Hill. That is close as ever you dare. As Isalovic actually puts 2 wheels on the grass, and that makes him run wide coming out of Paddock.
He's done it again, he's done it.
Oh, the slippery little devil that is Dave Hedges. He's gone right up the inside. He's done exactly the same to Isalovic that he did to Emery, and that is 2 cars in 2 laps, and now he's got a bit of clear air between himself. He
set that move up on the Brabham Straight as they went into Paddock Hill. He knew exactly what he was going to do. That was fantastic driving. He was looking for the cutback. Adam tried to stop him by coming across the front of him, but Dave just got it turned tighter down Paddock Hill and got the inside line, as he did with Richard the lap before.
Well, would you believe it? That's a brilliant couple of moves there from Dave Hedges. Absolutely fantastic. That's what you want in the dying stages of race, to help spice up the ante. But we are literally just under, I can't believe how quickly just over 43 minutes have gone here, Steve. As mistake from Isalovic. Emery trying to go up the inside. This is going to be close through Westfield, and he makes it through. Nice work by Richard Emery. That was a bit of a clumsy error from Adam Isalovic, I would think.
It was, but I think you have to say that Adam did very, very well to hold on to it and keep it clean with Richard up the inside of him, because it would have been very easy for them to come together in that situation. So it's a great driving, fantastic opportunistic move from Richard, but fantastic recovery from Adam.
Yeah, so in many respects, we have just over 70 seconds of this race still to go. Steve Haley still trying to close on Aaron Walker, as that's a bit of a mistake there by Emery, going down through the bottom of the Halewoods Hill up towards Druid, and that allows Isalovic to close on the back bumper of the 115 Aston Martin once again. But very shortly we'll be catching up with where our leaders are. There's Dave Hedges, and look how quickly he's closed up on Johan Pettersson. That's a brilliant amount of driving in just the last couple of laps alone from Dave Hedges. He's really got the run on the Porsche, and the Aston seems to be a bit more powerful in a straight line, especially in the toe.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think he might just sit behind through these corners now as they come into Dingledale next and into Sheens. He'll probably wait to try and do the same again on Paddock Hill, knowing Dave.
Yeah, very, very true indeed, as we've got 12 on the clock to go, and as you can see on the main part of your screen, that is our leader, Aaron Walker, who put it on pole position. He has been relatively untroubled. Well, actually, he's been completely dominant, let's say, in this first ever GT4 race here at Brands Hatch. As we go on board with Dave Hedges, timer is now at 0.
Here we go. Is he going to set the move up again? I'm not quite sure he's close enough. But
I don't think so. It could be a run to the line between these two, but that depends on Pedersen making any mistakes. But Pedersen's been keeping it clean, obviously, apart from the front bumper damage that I noticed a bit earlier on in the broadcast. And again, through Druids, Hedges a bit more measured, a bit more confident on the late braking opportunities, as they've got Regan Mitchell just up ahead. Well, it's Chris Crossman, I think, possibly just up ahead, or that's one of the back markers. Could have been Dobrevsky there, possibly, but in many... this is just brilliant that we could see a grandstand finale, and it's going to be for what is 6th position on the road. The gap between Walker and Haley in the dying stages of the race now 3.5 seconds as we come round the final corner. Here comes Aaron Walker in the 99 Porsche through down the Brabham Straight, and this time it is the checkered flag. Well done to Aaron Walker, taking the inaugural race victory in Simsport Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione. GT4 Season 1, Round 1 here at Brands Hatch. Stephen Haley takes 2nd position. Cody Pride takes 3rd place. And next up will be the infamous Maserati Gran Turismo MC of Regan Mitchell, who takes 4th ahead. Now I've just seen Aaron Martin Pilkington, who will finish in 22nd position. Here's Dave Hedges as Chris Crossman takes 5th. Hedges not got enough in the tank to try and get past Johan Pettersson, as they've got Dobrevsky just up ahead in the brightly coloured GT4 Mercedes AMG. But Pettersson takes 6th, Hedges in 7th. Emery will take 8th ahead of Isalovic. Neutelings will round out the top 10. But Michael Haffenden has done a really good job. He's going to cross the line very, very shortly in P11. There's Mark Raddenbury, who will live to fight another day in Hungary. But there's Haffenden in P11, and Gianluca De Luca will be the next driver to cross the stripe in the 135 Audi R8 LMS GT4. Tim Fulbrook, P13. Kevin Vidago, 14th. We've then got Angus Martin rounding out the top 15. And there is a Stop Go 30 being added to Chris Pinchbeck post-race. I'm not too sure what that was about, but...
yeah, that would be track limits, and he hasn't, because he'll have got the penalty in the last couple of laps, he won't have taken the drive-through, so it adds time to you at the end.
So that will probably put him down to about P18 by my reckoning. So Kelsey would take 16th ahead of Joel Diaz. Then it'll be Pinchbeck, Paul Lindsay, Ranjiv, and then it will be... Dobrevsky, Raddenbury and Martin Pilkington, with Slavensver and Gavin Utley being the 2 out of the 24 drivers that did not make the finish.
So it has to be said there, Mr. Pilkington obviously was one of the front runners. He was battling in the top 10. He's now finished technically last on the road, so that's pole position next week. That's not such a bad thing for him, is it? That really?
Well, if he gets a good launch in the KTM crossbow, he'll have a brilliant opportunity there. But that was brilliant. I mean, you know, we were talking about this a few weeks ago, Steve. Now it's reality. I'm so excited for the next 4 weeks, buddy. I mean, I can't wait for the Hungaroring next week.
Yeah, me too. That was very exciting. Great racing, and the chat on the Simsport YouTube. We've got Alan Ismay, well done, Cody. The Casual Shark, superb race. Hedges stole the show. Richard Pixley says well done to the top 3. You know, it's some good comments there, and you know, I'd be tempted to say if I had to choose a driver of the day. At one point I would have said Regan Mitchell, but I think Dave Hedges showed great commitment there to just keep going and battle back through again.
Yeah, well, I'm going to now head down into the interview booth, as I'm now going to have a chat with our winner of the inaugural race of Simsport Racing ACC GT4 Season 1, Aaron Walker. So I will be back with you in just a moment, Steve. So, many congratulations, Aaron Walker, our inaugural GT4 race winner. That was a brilliant display from you, good sir. Pole position, fastest lap, and you took the win with dominance assured. How do you feel on that front?
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, it wasn't the race I expected, to be honest. Quali went well. I was pleased with Quali. It's not often you finish in front of Steve. It was obviously a close-fought battle. I did know if I could quali in front of Steve, then I stood a chance. Obviously, I don't know what happened to him on the line at the start, but he obviously fell behind a couple of cars, which gave me a chance to get away. And then it was just a case of managing the gap. Yeah, quite pleased. Thank you.
Well, obviously, you've got a bit of a tall order next week at the Hungaroring. You're starting pretty much at the back. That's going to be a different kettle of fish altogether, isn't it?
Looking forward to that. That's going to be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Indeed. Well done for tonight, Aaron. Good luck this coming weekend on Sunday night at Kyle Army for GT3 Season 3 Round 4. And we'll see you next week at the Hungaroring.
Thanks. See you soon.
Cheers. Okay, we'll now head to our runner-up, Race 1 of GT4 Season 1. Let's head to Stephen Haley. Steve, a great drive from yourself, some great battling with Cody and Mr. Hedges, and also Regan Mitchell showing his nose, his Maserati nose throughout the race. Just tell us how your race went from that perspective.
I was quite happy with qualifying. The race start was okay. I had a few glitches, and it just so happened that the glitch happened kind of when the lights went green. So I was a little bit on the back foot there, trying to stay on the back of Dave and Cody. Try to get past him as soon as I possibly could, seeing Aaron kind of started to pull a bit of a gap. But once I managed to get past those two, it was just a case of trying my hardest, and I really did.
No, but obviously, like we've got with Aaron and yourself next week, you guys have got a bit of a tall order heading to the Hungaroring. That's going to be an interesting test, obviously, with reverse grid races. So the results from this get reversed, and it's happening for every single week. That's a different dynamic to deal with, especially with a new championship here at Simsport Racing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. To be fair, I thought the idea of reversing the previous race rather than kind of usually you do them kind of one straight after the other, but to do it this way and whatnot, I thought it was an interesting idea. I think he's going to make for great racing. I really do. It's going to be difficult, but I think it can be done, and I think it will put on quite a show next week.
Indeed. Well, all the very best of luck, Stephen, and enjoy yourself at Kyle Army for round 4 of GT3 Season 3 this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Cheers, Alex.
No problem at all. Right, okay. I'm now going to head back to Steve Proudley, so we'll just talk about things and wrap up before this evening ends. Steve, some great insight from both Aaron and Mr. Haley there. Looking forward ahead of what's going to happen at Kyalami this coming Sunday, but also the fact that they've got a tall order next week at the Hungaroring.
They've got a very tall order, but I think as Dave Hedges showed tonight, the lads at Simsport, they've got a fantastic racecraft, and Steve, as we saw in the GT3s the other week, I believe, was it Mazzano, where he had a bad qualifying and he had to start at the back, and he battled his way through. He made quite a lot of positions, so they'll race, and it'll be some good racing. And like Steve says, I do think it'll be a fantastic race to watch.
Indeed. Well, that really, I think, a little bit earlier than what we thought. We're going to wrap up here for the first of 5 race evenings for Simsport Racing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, GT4, Season 1, Round 1 here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix. A big thank you on behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Steve Proudley from Simsport Racing, your official commentators. We will see you in a week's time at the Hungaroring on the 5th of August. But don't forget to join Chris Buxton and Steve this coming Sunday evening from 7 p.m. as Round 4 of ACC Season 3 gets underway at the fantastic South African circuit, simply known as Kyalami. Thank you for watching, and once again, stay safe.
Good night.